Welcome back to episode 15 of Cashed In. Today we are joined with Brendan McKenzie, a pie at Sotheby's here in Pittsburgh. He also has his own podcast called Breadcrumbs and his own tagline, which is Let's Get This Bread. So I'm interested to get into it. Brendan, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're from Jersey?
Yeah, so originally from New Jersey. I grew up there till about 14, 15-ish. I went to Norwin High School. So I got there like my freshman year and started from there. Graduated from Norwin, did a year at Pitt Greensburg, and needed to get out of there. Mm-hmm. So I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh for hospitality management. Graduated from there, started working in a hotel. Immediately realized that that's not for me, and then got my license, and the rest is history.
What year did you get your license?
2016.
2016. Which hotel were you at?
The Westin.
The Westin.
Convention Center.
Okay, and you didn't like it. Why?
Just there was no room for growth. I noticed that anyone above like a front desk manager has just been there forever, and they're just handing out 25, 15-year awards like it was nothing. And I was just like, no one wants to do anything else with their lives, and I was like, that's not for me.
Oh God.
Yeah, I could understand that. So what made you want to do the jump into real estate? Did you have a mentor or somebody like that kind of pushed you that way? Or?
So once I realized that that's not what I wanted to do, I was like, okay, well, I have two options. I either A, need to go back to college and get like an MBA or something, or B, I need to find a job that makes sense that I can grow and work hard to make more money. Mm-hmm. I have a friend that was investing, wholesaling, buying properties, kind of flipping, but this was like, he started when we were like graduating high school, like during college. So this is when it wasn't cool. Like this is when it was like very not sexy, just bandit signs and like really crappy stuff. So I was always kind of interested in him doing that. And then fast forward, he was just complaining about his agent, and I was like, oh, I'll be your agent. And he's like, oh, that's a good idea. Like, get your license. And I did. And then he stopped buying houses by the time I got but it was good because the way that I see it, one, he was being supportive. So it's like, okay,
sure.
Like, yeah, I'll support you. Like, we'll work together. And then two, it put me in the position to get into real estate. So without knowing that I'd have business, I was like, you know what, I'll go for it. And then now I have someone that I'm supposedly supposed to work with. It helped me think like, okay, just get through it, get your license, and then it starts from there.
Right. That's awesome. You took a leap of faith. Yep. During a time, at least there was inventory back then.
Yeah.
And everything's to buy.
It's super crazy now. I think there's not enough inventory because I think there's too many buyers. I think
way too many.
That's a big part about it. So with the amount of people that are trying to buy a house like right now, this second, it's almost like I almost feel like it's a scare tactic right now. It's like, you got to buy right now because if you don't buy right now, you'll never be able to buy. But once again, if you think like historically, these rates are still good.
Oh, we're
100%.
still, if it's 6, it's still a historical low.
Yeah. So we're still good there. And I mean, rent's going to be rent. And if you think about inflation and all those numbers, it makes sense to a point and to a degree. But if you're aware of you needing to have your life together or just being financially responsible, renting forever just isn't really the play.
For sure.
So you should have some sort of money here, some sort of money there. And like maybe you're someone that you just don't want to be tied down to one area. You want to live your best life and travel and experience things. Cool. Mm-hmm. But if you are in the idea of real estate, it's not that there's never a wrong time to buy. I just think of throughout history, there's never been a year where houses didn't sell.
For sure. Back then, they might have taken a little bit longer to sell, mm-hmm. And that's the cycle was different. But, I definitely agree with you. The rates are obviously historic lows, mm-hmm. Still. People get so scared about it. We've talked about this last week.
We talked about the interest rate frenzy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I'm kind of neutral on it. I don't know if our episode, made it, I leaned one way or the other. Because a lot of people will talk to me about it, and they're like, oh, they're so high. Like, I got it quoted back to me, oh, you said they were so high and I should be worried and lock in my rates. And I'm like, it's still historically low. And I love what you say, how you're like, doesn't even deter me. I'm like, I'll buy my access.
From an investor perspective, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, now I could understand why a home buyer, why they might be a little bit, skittish, depending on your budget, because the prices are so
range,
high.
Yeah, determines
and then you got,
the
then
worry.
if you add another, quarter, half, or even a full point, I mean, that's going to really, it could squeeze you, from a budget perspective.
I think it goes both ways, actually.
Okay.
So from the investor standpoint, you're there to make money, but your percentage starts to drop. So as those numbers start to go up, it's more affordable. It used to be, okay, I'll have this house for $1,000, like $1,000 a month. I can rent it out for 12. I'm making 200. So as those numbers change, it changes for you unless you're buying cash.
No, yeah, finance.
So you finance it. So then those rates are going to change a little bit, and then for someone that lives in a house, if you're going to live there, sometimes it's worth it. Like go to the bar one less night a week. Like don't go to a really fancy restaurant. Like there's different ways to go around it. So I think once again, both sides, it all depends on the person.
Yeah, that's a great point. I like that. Lifestyle decisions.
Yeah.
I have a question for you both. What do you guys think about adjustable rates? It wouldn't be I've never used an adjustable rate. I know you have with a mortgage.
That's all that I do.
What's the strategy in like this market? Would it be advantageous to have an adjustable rate right now, or when do you use that? When does that come into play?
I mean, most lenders are making me use it. At this point,
because it might
so I
drop.
do a 5-1 arm. No, I mean because I do a 5-1 arm. It amortizes over 30 years, and then it's fixed for 5. And then it's just going to fluctuate after that based on where rates are in 5 years. If I were to close today. So it's not going to go haywire. I mean, yeah, it's gonna, but the rates tend to be better.
Okay.
Right now. So I'm fixed for 5. I don't know what they are right now. I might be 4. It might be 4.5, 4.75, something like that. It's better than what I'm going to be getting for just a regular traditional 30-year fixed. So, but again, if it's 5%, if it's 6%, 6.5%. I'm unfazed by it, as long as I'm buying the right property in the right market.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Got it.
But I don't know what rates are going to be in 5 years. Yeah. At the way that the government prints money, I'm assuming that it's going to have to be a little bit. It's going to continue to. I don't think we're going to see 3s anytime soon again.
Yeah.
Or less or sub 3 like we did for a little bit.
Damn it. Okay, so Brendan, since this is our official first conversation ever.
Yeah.
I don't know much about you in terms of, like, are you an investor? Are you a future investor? What's your real estate goals with that?
I would say I'm a future investor. I haven't bought anything yet. I've thought about it. I've gone back and forth. So it started off where I wanted to buy, like, my own house first. And honestly, I wish that I would have been put a little bit together earlier on in my career. So I would have, like, bought in the small first time home buyer house. I know too much now that I don't want that house anymore. Like I don't want to have to be fixing things and kind of having a house I don't want. So for now, like I want the bells and whistles. I want the convenience. I want the this and the that. So at this point, if I were to buy something, it's either going to be done already or I already have plans of buying it and redoing the entire thing. So if I would have had a little bit more stuff together when I first got in, I would have been fine with buying a little 2-bedroom house in Mount Washington and then just hanging out there for a bit. But now I know what I want and that's not it. So that being said, I've definitely been looking more into the idea of investment properties, of just finding something, whether it be an Airbnb or whether it be a single family or duplex. Still working that out. Ultimately, and I was just talking to my brother about this the other day. So it's like I'm the real estate agent that sells people houses and I don't own anything. The way that I look at myself right now is that I'm growing a business. So that's my real estate business. So like helping people. So once I get more settled where like systems, processes, and I can like separate myself I can then really like dig into the real estate investing. So if I want to do a flip or if I want to do this, and I can actually spend time doing that. But right now I dedicate so much time to my clients that I feel like I would be missing a step or missing a beat if I were to really dive into like that investor standpoint. So,
We talked about Airbnbs, I think.
yeah.
Florida. Did you have someone looking, or was it you looking?
So actually the my buddy that I was talking about earlier, so he still like kind of buys stuff here and there, but it's to a point where it doesn't necessarily need to involve me. But he was talking about buying an Airbnb in Florida, and that being like a place that we'll be able to go down to when we want to. But he's a financial advisor. So his time and my time are completely different. So he can be like, okay, well, I'm going to go down to Florida 5 times a year. And me, I can't do that. So we looked into it. We kind of went back and forth. And it ultimately came down to one of like the rules in the area that you can't have an Airbnb because so many people are doing it.
Yeah, the restrictions.
Yeah, so the restrictions came down on it. So I was basically ready to go if we found the right property because he's done it 1,000 times. And he knows what he's doing. So for me, I'm more than fine saying, hey, here's a check for X amount of dollars. We'll have the equity be a certain way, and let's do this. But ultimately, before we even got to break everything down, it was the restrictions kind of just killed it.
I see. Okay. Yeah, so it segues into, I wanted to talk about your recent trip. You just got back from Destin, hence the tan burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple episodes back, we talked about, is Destin the new place to boom? So when you were down there, was that just like leisure? Did you kind of research the market in terms of investing? What'd you find down there?
Yeah, it was both. I think at the time, whenever we were looking, it was kind of a joke because neither of us had ever been there.
Yeah.
But now obviously being there and just seeing, the layout, because at the end of the day, when you're buying a short-term rental, you have to know, it is the location, right? But then in the same breath, it's, like even just like where's the boardwalk at? I didn't even know there was a boardwalk down there. The shopping
Airport,
center. Where I stayed at, it was truly one of the best Airbnbs I've ever stayed at because there was a Walmart right across the way. It was one of those big super centers. Yeah, so you're right at the beach. You had all the amenities there. I could walk to restaurants. If I wanted entertainment, wanted to go get a drink, there was a beachfront seafood bar. So I mean, it was really good. And it was a lot smaller than I thought. So I think.
Did you believe that price was fair for what you paid for it?
Yeah, because I hate when people do this to me with my Airbnbs. But you mean the nightly rate? Yeah. So I message. I'll usually book them like last minute, and I'll ask if I'll try to negotiate the nightly rate. And I'll say, you know what, like I'll see that this is available. It might not have been the first place that I wanted to buy or wanted to book, but it's still available, and I feel all right. It's 3 days before. From a host perspective, I've taken money off. If someone books last minute with me because I want the booking as long as it's within reason, right?
Yeah,
it has to make sense. I don't want 10 people stampeding through my place and $100 a night. But that's one of the things. So like if you are going somewhere, host usually bends.
Okay.
Interesting. I didn't even know you could contact the host prior.
You could contact it. Yeah.
So I've definitely seen like the contact button for questions, but to negotiate the rate, that's ballsy. I like that. Once again, leverage. Do you want this money or do you not want this money? Because
right now
you can go somewhere else. Someone else will get money, and their monthly, however they run it, their accounting is saying like, hey, you need money here, and here's an opportunity.
Well, and she was booked, and it was like there was only like, it just so happened the only days that were available were those 4 days that I went there. Now, she didn't take any money off the nightly rate.
No.
So I can't say I tried though.
Yeah,
but
can't hurt to ask.
She called my bluff or I called hers,
Yeah.
and she said no, I already lowered it, which she already did. I could tell
Yeah.
because in comparison to other things.
Yeah.
But no, I love the area and love the market. Actually, we were talking about that before. We've talked about it many times, and you just mentioned it. And I think that from an investor's perspective, even though Anna and I have been working together for a while, I've known her since 3rd grade.
Yeah,
something
probably.
like that.
Yeah.
And, I started investing, I think, in like 15 or 16, right, whenever you just got your license. And so even though I push her to probably to get into multi-units and invest more, she does more flipping. What you said actually stands out to me, because I think that from a value add perspective, from whether an investor or a client, you're putting all your time and energy into your clients, right? Just because you're a licensed agent doesn't necessarily mean that you have to invest.
Oh, 100%.
That really doesn't. I mean, that might not be your cup of tea. Maybe you want to just flip, and it makes sense because now you're able to negotiate that sales price if it is on the MLS, So I think that there's a lot of value, there to be said about that, in doing that.
And the other part too is that I see it where, someone will try to do something and they're just overreaching and then they just like fuck themselves over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. So it's something where as I build my business, as I start to have that clients where referrals, and I'm not spending as much time on the marketing or trying to build rapport or trying to make someone trust and believe that I'm a good agent. I know I'm a good agent.
Right.
So when it gets to the point where it's like, okay, well, I don't have to spend as much time on prospecting. I can now spend time on investing.
Yeah,
and
right.
the money's coming in. I know that this month I should make this much, this month I should make this much. And you learn like, okay, I'm going to net this much this year if I hit all my goals. So it's like, okay, well, I have a chunk of money and what am I going to do with it?
Right.
So I have, let's say just for an easy number, like I should profit X amount and I'm going to put $50K into real estate. So what am I doing with that $50K? Is that buying something and flipping? Is that the down payment and closing costs? Is that a renovation on something? Do I go the hard money loan route? Like now it's something where I'm starting to turn that corner where it's like, okay, I'm not going to be broke. I'm going to be okay. I'm doing well in real estate. So I can start to take some time and go into that route.
Right.
So with you, I think I saw on your, like you did medical sales or you
still do.
Yeah. So for you, I think it's sales in general, but your time is money. So you have but so much time, and I don't believe you have to really deal with stuff like you're probably 9 to 5. That's usually where you're having conversations. Outside of that, you don't have to worry about stuff.
Yeah, it's flexible.
Yeah.
When you're sell. I mean, it depends on how you define what worry is. I'm taking calls, really all day. Whether I have now I have multiple rehabs going on right now. I have 30 different tenants, so it's like you're trying to, balance it out. But I've been able to do that.
Yeah.
It's hard at times, but it'll probably get to the point where either I'll hang it up eventually and just strictly be an investor, or I'll have to hire a property management company.
Yeah.
So
how many properties do you have?
So 30 doors. There's 10 properties.
And you're managing all of it. I mean, that definitely helps your bottom line.
Oh, for sure. That's why I won't. That's why I won't hire a property manager.
Yeah. When I just heard you say I'll hire a property manager. I'm like, he doesn't have a property manager yet, because you read the articles, you read the this, and they're like, okay, once you have this many doors, you need to get property management. But once again, if you have that flexibility with your, I guess, main source of income, and you're flexible in that space, what else are you doing with your time? And that's where I'm the friend that's always on my phone, doing something working.
Yeah.
And I'll have friends come here and do this and do nothing. And I'm like, I'll start itching.
Yeah, no shot.
Yeah.
You have to be that way in real estate to have an edge. You have to be available. You have to be constantly prospecting and talking to someone, answering. I'll call. That's Comcast. That's not a client. But constantly answering their worry and their stresses. Yeah. And I wanted to add, you've been in med sales for a long time, so you have your relationships built up. So does that? I'm sure that's an advantage now.
Special. I mean, I was an ortho for 6 years.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm in Durham.
Got it. That's like a foreign language to me. So
yes.
Trying to draw a conclusion that maybe
years.
doesn't make sense. But do you self-manage your property in Florida?
I do.
And you self-managed when you had the one in OC or Maryland.
City, yeah.
So
I'm just people get one of the other owners down in Madeira. They reached out to me the one night, and he was asking me these questions. I don't know. He was from up in the Jersey area. He invested, bought a condo down there. And he was paying a property management company, and he called. He goes, "Hey, I'm paying 20%, and I'm not. I looked at your listing. Why am I not getting as booked?" And I'm like, look, like there's a lot of little intricacies that are there, to try to get bookings.
Yeah.
And these firms, they don't care, because chances are you're paying them a fixed amount every month, regardless if your place books or not.
Yep.
You might be paying them $500-$600 a month just for them to be on call to answer any issues.
Yeah.
If it's a brand new building, don't have any issues.
Yeah, right.
But they're still getting paid, and then they're probably making a cut on the cleaning. Every single booking, they're probably making a cut. I mean, it adds up. So that's why I don't really do it. Now, with the apartments up here, it's a little bit different. I mean, it's definitely stressful at times, especially if you're dealing with a bunch of vacancies.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm comfortable enough just balancing my time to where I'm able to.
It sounds like you're pretty structured.
Yeah.
I mean, just with the way the tenants pay you is online, right?
Yeah, they all pay through a portal. So I mean, it's
And then
pretty good.
Question, so for the medical sales, is it something that you kind of set up a contract and that kind of feeds you for a while, or are you actively?
No, I mean, it's every day.
Okay.
So I mean, it's every day. So like for example, like this morning, into the early afternoon, I go into offices, I make my calls. I have a drug that I sell, so that's kind of like the way that I structure my day. But I mean, it's not like it's some days are busier than other days. It just depends on how I structure my week. But no, it's through a company. Like there's some 1099 reps that are out there that'll sell like one-off things to hospitals and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I've been fortunate to be able to balance both. Truthfully, I mean, there's jobs that are out there. Like if I was working like an office 9 to 5 and I didn't have flexibility, there's no way. Even in the hospital, I couldn't. One of the reasons why I got out of Device was because I just couldn't balance both.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but
I mean, that means you made a choice to bet on yourself rather than stay here, because it's, do I want to stay in this space and make this money with this hotel or hospital, or do I want to have more time to be able to create opportunities for myself?
It's all flexibility, work-life balance, and it's all a means to an end, in my opinion. Like you guys are both licensed agents. You obviously work for a brokerage, right? But you guys have the flexibility to control your own income. Like for example, like you have a really nice social media following. You're very active on there, so like that obviously is going to help you with help your income stream as well. The more content that you post, the bigger following that you get, the more the clients you're going to see you and see what you're about. And you guys both do really well in that regard. It's
like a running resume. Honestly, I get a lot of my new business from it.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard
It's
thing
nerve-wracking. It's anxiety.
You put yourself out there.
Yeah. It's like, do I sound like I'm making sense? And so far it's been a good return for me, and it's free. So
it's free. Yeah. He's doing backflips, catching footballs.
I can't do that yet, but
yeah, that's kind of dangerous. But don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not. I was standing straight up the entire time. But yeah, I mean, a lot of, like I said, my new business and making connections, it helps when you're trying to make connections. And when I travel and I go other places with real estate agents and real estate people, or if I want to, have them come on the podcast, they look at my running resume, which is either my Instagram or my Facebook or whatever, and they see, okay, she has some credibility. This person might follow her, or this person must have used her before, and I know them. It can be really
it's an
lucrative.
Easy way to build rapport without needing to
explain yourself. Yeah.
So,
I like it.
Yeah.
That's for me. I started calling it kind of like a catalog, So it's in the way that I've been in. I post a lot now, and I did not post this much until this year. But the way that I see it is that it is now kind of like a timeline, So you see, I was here, this is what I was doing, and you're able to kind of keep up and catch up with it. Well, like, here's something that was really cool, or here's something that sucked, here's something that's good, and
makes you relatable.
Yeah, relatable. You're able to understand me more, because everyone has a perception of someone before they meet them.
Yes.
And social media is good and bad at the same time, because, you have your people that they'll pose in front of as something that's not theirs, and they'll act like they have this, that, and a third.
Yep.
And then there's also the people that are more modest, but they are more than capable and can do these things, and they'll get discounted because they don't.
Yeah.
So it's a mixture of how you decide to control your own narrative.
Yeah, it's especially with our culture today. It's like, okay, who is this person? All right, do I know them? Let me look them up. What's their name? That's the first thing I do is if I don't know somebody, let me see their social media. And if I see certain things on your social media, I'm judging you. Like really hard because it's the first thing. So I take that perspective and I'm like, well, I'm going to create this character that's the best part of me. And I'm going to amplify that on social media, and that captures an audience, and that's going to make people trust me and give me credibility and ask me questions about real estate every day. Mostly, how do I become an agent has been my number one question. Is that what your DMs look like?
So I used to get that. Mine is normally like, I'm becoming an agent, like, give me all the tools.
Yeah, give me all the advice. What do you say?
I just say, like, hey, like, just work, you know? And I'm just now trying to put systems together, and I've been licensed since 2016. So it's not necessarily easy. And right now, real estate it's literally pop culture. So like it
is. It's so trendy right now.
It's so trendy. And if you don't know anything, like, you're broke. And if selling, I cannot stand.
I don't watch it.
Selling Sunset.
I don't watch it. Don't ask me. Everyone tells me I'm very merry. I don't know who that is.
I don't know either.
I don't know
What's Selling Sunset?
Thank you.
I'm so glad you don't know.
I think you're gonna say Selling Tampa. That was on Netflix.
Basically the same thing.
Is it California?
That's a spinoff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Sunset Boulevard in Cali. And
to me, I think it kind of like besmirches like real estate. You know?
Is it real?
I mean, it's a real.
I don't know what to believe on any of these things.
So I mean, it's basically you got California hotties running around talking to people
in high heels on construction sites.
Not even licensed.
It makes no sense. Yeah, and it's like
I've seen The Office because I go to LA a lot, and they have an office in Newport Beach. The Oppenheim Group is what they're called because that's the office that they film, and they have all these characters and weddings and drama. It's really doesn't have much about real estate. They're in a house every so often.
Yep. Yeah, it's real.
And the commissions are always like they walk into a house and they're like potential commission. It's like $6 million. It's like ridiculous.
It's too much. It sounds good, but
I might have seen one episode.
You like she's watching it. I don't watch it.
I don't know who Mary is.
I've seen one episode.
It confuses. I feel like it confuses a lot of people, and it influences them to wanna. So it's almost like before the real estate was cool. It's like, oh, make your own business, like work for yourself, like you don't need to work for anyone else. And then you quit your job, and you're like, okay, what business am I going to start? And that's the business of applying for a new job because you don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah. What's the lowest barrier of entry?
Yeah, exactly.
Let me go online, realestateexpress.com, 75 hours, bought it, take a test, done.
Yep.
Ready to go.
And that was the thing. Like I went to, that's exactly how I got mine, like Real Estate Express.
That's how I got mine in Florida and Cali. Yeah.
Super easy.
COVID.
I don't know. Did you tell me about Real Estate Express? I was like, I might as well just get my license. I went on.
I'm like, my client.
No way in hell am I doing this. It took me forever because you couldn't like click through the pages or anything.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm done with this.
I got licensed when I was working at the hotel, and what I would do is like I'd work nights and I would just like study during the night because I wasn't doing anything. It's 4:00 in the morning. Who's moving around in a hotel?
Yeah.
So besides your occasional like drunk person or like I got off a red-eye flight, like it's one of those things. I'm basically standing there doing nothing. So I luckily had that ability, and I'm pretty sure I passed each of my tests pretty easy. But I also had nothing to do but stare at a piece of paper and highlight stuff. And I'll talk to someone, they're like, yeah, I took my test 6 times, still can't pass. I'm like, you need to give it up. You need to be like, the test is the easiest part about it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like once you get past the test, it's basically like how hard you want to work.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And when someone goes like, oh, how do you do what you're doing? I just put my head down and work.
You eat what you kill.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be highly ambitious, and you have to have a vision of who you want to be and what you want your life to be like.
Yeah.
And then you're not too big to take a small job. That's probably my biggest irk. I don't even know what other word to describe it as. Like, my biggest pet peeve is when the agents who just get their license are like, why am I not doing $1 million sales? Why am I not doing this? I'm like, is that in your sphere?
Have you had $1 million sale yet?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have not.
Yeah. Took me last year. And I've been in it since 2013.
Okay. So.
But granted, I'm in Pittsburgh and I'm from Newcastle, so the average sale price in Pittsburgh
there's really not
was
not much
like
to go on.
$188,000 before I checked this last boom.
Yeah.
But that's probably what, $225, the average sale price.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So that's a lot of houses you gotta sell to reach, you know, or to sell as much as I have, but to also there's not the median income. It's not many $1 million neighborhood. It's not selling Sunset. So
No, it's not.
yeah. So they feel like they're too big to take a job. And that really pisses me off because I used to do property management, and one unit I made $17 a month. Like, I started grinding. Like, I took anything. I did rentals. I rented a place for $350 a month, you know, and my commission was 60% of that.
Yeah.
You know, so that irritates me. Maybe this is just a venting session.
No, I'm here because you're right, because it's like, who are you to come in here and have those demands, you know?
Yeah, and then they do, like, because we're full-time agents, the new agents just take a piece of our business that we've worked so long and hard to build up. So it's like, oh, well, that's my cousin. I got to give her the sale.
So, and that's where it, like, when I said people reach out to me, they're getting their license, it's people that I know that are in that sphere that, like, have... And it's funny, like, oh, I watched you, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to get my license now. And I'm like, yeah, like, it's hard work and do it. And then it'll be, like, that one person that I kind of talked to or I knew. And they're like, oh, I'm selling their house or I'm working with them. And I'm like, you're going to sell them this one house and do nothing for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, if you want to be an agent, if you're going to be an agent and dedicate yourself, create systems in the beginning, become efficient. If you can't automate it, delegate it.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it.
I mean, I think everyone deserves a chance, you know?
Sure.
And the market will do what it does, you know? So people will get in there and it's frustrating, so it's not worth it. Or someone wants to go see a house on a Friday evening and you want to go out with your friends. Or maybe you're a family person and you got to be at home with the kids, or you got to go see mom or Nana or whatever. So there's those times where, like, you have to make those sacrifices, and some people understand and some people don't.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I'm all in. Like, I'm 10 toes down. I know this is what I want to do. And for my friends and family that are like, oh, like, you work too much, or like, you should not work as much. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
What's your biggest stressor as an agent?
I think my biggest stressor is when I mentally hold myself back.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one.
You know? So,
Yeah, because I could relate. Yeah.
Because, like, it's you want to be here, and I get the idea of being patient, and it's something where I almost have a hard time taking compliments when someone's like, hey, you're doing a good job. Like,
I feel guilty sometimes. I'm like, they don't know.
Yeah,
Like, I don't see myself like that.
yeah, like, and for me, it's, I know where I want to be ultimately, and I'm starting to get better at, like, okay, saying point A, point B, and that's what I was talking about, like, timelines. But it's something where, why don't I or can't I do an open house every weekend and help someone or pull a client out of there? I'm not doing this right enough to do this thing. So I would say, like, I'm my biggest stressor. Like, clients, people are people. For the most part, most of my clients are pretty chill. And I can get along with just about anyone. So whenever people are, like, standoffish, it doesn't take me long to kind of break those walls down. So it's cool, and clients really aren't my problem. I would say I'm my biggest.
Yeah.
What is yours?
Probably the same thing. Time management. Yeah, I gotta get better at that. But that all comes down to infrastructure.
Yeah.
You know, I've always just winged it kind of with my schedule. Like here. Sometimes I overbook myself, or I'll double book myself because I love that time of the day. I've done that. I mean, hence today I thought we were. I told you one, then I'm like 2.
I thought it was 1 too.
You thought it was 5.
Anna. No, I'm just kidding.
It's probably me. Yeah, probably. Okay, so I want to word this correctly. It's, I'm worthy of the vision that I have in my head for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's half of me that is like, you are
Mm-hmm.
worthy, and the other half is like, no, you're not. And that's the part that holds us back, you know, because I want to be, you know, that big investor. Yesterday I had a shit day. I was telling you about it. And I'm like, all right, here we go. I got my houses. I'm going to pull all the equity out. I'm going to buy a multi-unit. I'm going to do some therapy buying with these multi-units just to prove to myself, like, I am worthy of this, you know? And I am. I don't know what's stopping me. It's all mindset. It's like a mind game. We create our own boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest stressor is that I don't get rid of them. And if I want to see myself, you know, in the luxury markets, you know, whether it's here or it's Florida, and having Airbnbs, which is what I want, that's my goal, then I have to meet it. This is what Oprah said. She said, you have to meet it at the vibration. And I watched a clip of her on TikTok the other day. And she was like, you have to meet it at the vibration. You have to vision yourself doing what you want, and you have to accept it. And I was like, okay, Oprah, that's why you're Oprah, you know? So, but it was like relatable. So that's my biggest stressor, is this small town, small mindset Anna that used to exist many years ago, who is not that person anymore.
There we go.
So I'm preaching to myself.
There we go. No, sometimes you got to do that. You gotta remind yourself who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so like everyone sees it, like on social media. You have like the
highlights.
Yeah, the highlight things, and it's like, oh, like be who you want to be and do what you want to do, like motivation.
Yeah. And that I almost turn those off because I'm like, this is so corny. I'm like, I can't even watch this.
I like those because I like. Once again, it's marketing. So like, there's the people that it's supposed to hit and then make them buy something, and then there's the people that like for me, like I'm able to understand what it is. Like I'm looking for the message. Yeah. So when like the one guy that the old dude that yells at everyone's like, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future."
I saw that.
Show me your friends.
I'm like, wait, is this a real estate guy?
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
he's
the
like
bigger,
the
like
richest.
kind of heavy set.
He wears like a 3-piece suit.
Yeah,
and
he's like a gray hair.
It just screams all the time.
Yeah, he just screams at everyone. Like, and it's like he's a motivational speaker or something like that. So it's not necessarily real estate. I think it's one of those like life coaches.
He says wild things.
Yeah, he says the wildest stuff, and he just screams. Like every clip, he's like, you know what? I want to tell you something. Like,
that's exactly how it is.
It's not Tony Robbins, is it?
No. He's mild compared to this old guy.
Yeah, no, that old dude, he's got something going on. But but like that phrase, you know, you break it down. And it's like, okay, like show me your friend, show me your future. Like,
I believe that.
Yeah.
100%.
What are you doing? Who are you hanging with? And like, it's something where like I've like elevated throughout my life with making different decisions, and it's something where like, because I've moved around a lot, like I've gone to like a bunch of different schools, like within New Jersey and then here. It's one of those things where like I'll go back home to Jersey and I'll see like older family members and they're like, wow, like you're such a different person. Like I remember when I was a menace. like menace. I got expelled in 3rd grade.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
Yeah.
Was it fighting or?
No, actually, I lit a firecracker and threw it in the front of class.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Creative.
Pyro.
Yeah, I was one of those kids, but it's one of those things where like I didn't really have enough things or people to look at to like have me in a different mindset. And like, you know, like you mess something up and it's like, okay, like you'll talk to someone like, oh, I got fired today. And they're like, oh, bro, it's all good. Like, let's get drunk and forget about it and worry about it.
The plot to Friday.
You know? And like, that's not okay in my book. You know?
No.
Yeah,
You need to actually figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah, like what's the problem here?
Getting hammered and like forgetting about it isn't going to help you. So
Right.
like, where are our solutions? And a lot of people fall into that, like, I want to pat you on the head, make you feel better. But I think it's important to, like, have those friends to be like, yo, you're messing up. Like, get your stuff together. So, like, in those messages, there are things that are stupid, but, like, I'm
just
here
to
for
that one. Yeah, just to that guy you're just talking about.
Yeah. So I think there's...
That's my friend Dana for me. She's my tough love friend. And she doesn't know I call her that, but I call you that in my head. She's always telling me, like, no, Anna, you should have did it this way. Or, that's kind of your fault, Anna. You need to own it. Like, that's the type of friend she is.
I'm that friend all day.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes I don't want to hear it, but it's what I need to hear.
Yeah.
But it's validating also because I know she's honest when it was like, that wasn't your fault. That shouldn't have happened.
Oh yeah, big time.
That's what a friend. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That should be what a friend is.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like my dad used to tell me all the time growing up. He wanted to know where I was and who I'm with, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just where you at and who are you with. Because if I was around people that I wasn't supposed to be around. He was my principal, by the way. So
he was my principal too.
Yeah, he knew.
Ooh.
He knew who. If I said somebody, it's not like a regular parent. He knew if I was supposed to be around them or not. They were pretty lenient, flexible. I had a really good, time in high school. But if I was around somebody that I wasn't supposed to be with, because he knew that's the direction that you're in. And as a professional, all three of us, if we surround ourselves with people that are like-minded or that are better than us, in terms of, I don't want to use the word better, but you know what I mean? Yeah.
Further,
right.
in their journey, like
if they're where you want to be or you aspire to be,
yeah,
then you'll get there.
Yeah.
And sometimes my peers tend to be older than me because they've done more or they've accomplished more. They're leading the way, like mentors. Things like that, which it's kind of like if I can't even, I'll get bored if I'm around someone who doesn't have a vision. Like, why would I sit there and entertain a conversation from you? I'm like, so, but I wanted to hear your stressor. Like, we both gave ours. Like, what's your biggest stressor? Like, as an investor, like in real estate, like,
Meryl would say, probably my tenants, but no, I think, for me, it's I don't know that it's a stressor, but I'm always just I don't want to use the word complacent because I'm the total opposite of complacent. Yeah. But I'm always go. I never actually sit and just need to decompress. It's like, okay, I just bought this. Well, now I'm looking at this. Now I got to do this, or I got to buy this. It's almost like it's never enough, if you would, to a certain extent.
So you're appreciative but never satisfied.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to be 32 this summer, and it's like I'm very blessed and fortunate. I'm at a very good spot in life. If I wanted to quit my 9 to 5, I could quit it. I don't need that income stream. I enjoy it, so I do it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's life goes by quick. It really does, and if you're not really making the memories and cherishing the people that are around you, it like this, I feel like I just graduated high school, and now here we are. It's been 13, 14 years, and so for me, it's learning when to actually just decompress and being okay in that moment and not always sitting there thinking that, like, I could be doing X, Y, and Z. Yeah. But just being okay with it. And that's why I do travel. I try to get away because if I don't, now I get home and I have 500 pieces of mail and I have all these email, all this stuff that I have to do. And it's like, I lose it irks me. And then I'm in my office until midnight and it's like, I didn't see my family and I just, so I mean, you have to find that balance. Yeah. And
I feel like that's forever going to be something you're going to have to work on. With the people that I believe that we are, from what I'm picking up so far, is that it's never going to stop. We just figure out different ways to manage it. So I see you're married. No kids yet?
Stepdaughter, 14.
Stepdaughter, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's less maintenance as far as like staring at and helping and doing.
Yeah.
There definitely is like that parenting side of things with like
sure.
reaching out, helping, talking.
Where are you at? Who you with?
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah. So that's kind of what you're doing now. So it's more of like a management rather than actually doing. So, but I'm sure you have that balanced out. Where, to a degree at least.
For sure, yeah. What boy are you texting? Who's that?
Yeah. So it's a part of it. Like, I don't have kids yet. I'm pretty sure you don't have any kids yet.
Nope, I got a nephew. That's enough.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where, in my mind, like, I still need to like figure out who would be the mother of if that's like in the cards for me. And I'm still at the point where, like, I wake up and I work to the second I pass out.
That's what you're married to, is, like, the job. Yeah. Almost. Like, to find a partner that can understand, like, the chaoticness of an agent is hard.
And it's something where like I went back and forth, so I turned 29 this month, and I think 2020 this is actually funny. So 2020, the beginning of the year before COVID hit, I was like, I'm gonna get a girlfriend, I'm gonna start taking this serious, like blah 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 blah. And
wait, this was going into 2020?
This was going into 2020.
Right
before COVID happened.
New Year's resolution.
I'm gonna get a girlfriend, I'm gonna do this, blah blah blah. And like I actually like I promise you, like I tried. Like I really tried. I would not do something and make the sacrifices and make those things, but what I learned is that I'm trying to make the wrong sacrifices and I can't change what this is. So like I'll be sitting on a couch watching TV, doing the whole like Netflix, let's catch up on our shows, and I'm literally like itching, like I need to do this, I need to do that, text this client, reach this out, and then the second I would have that personal time, I'm just so far behind. So like building those systems and having someone to understand that is such a huge thing.
For sure.
Like for that, what you're saying, the idea of like being there, like if you have a wife, a stepdaughter, you're running a real estate empire, and you're still doing medical sales, dude, you're crushing it right now.
Yeah, he's a mogul.
I wouldn't say that. But no, it consumes a lot of my time. Yeah. And I should offload some aspects. Like for example, I could hire somebody to cut my grass, but I cut my grass because that's therapy for me. But there's things that
you're a dad.
I'm a dad. Yeah, I'm a dad.
I'm cutting the grass.
I'm cutting the grass. I'm not having anyone cut my grass because they're gonna end up busting the lights in the back and. They're gonna nick the edge. Yeah,
the grass pattern that goes this way. You gotta
go this way. Yeah, you gotta go around the. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
No, it's a lot, but I'm not complaining about it. I'm definitely blessed, but in the same breath, like you just said, just being there in the moments that you have, because you don't know. You really don't. Like, I hope that I could build and create a legacy, that if something happened to me or whenever I go, that, I could pass it down to my stepdaughter, or if we have a kid, like you pass it down. Like that's ultimately what it is, because at the end of the day, we all have a time, and so you
can't make more of it.
Nope.
Yeah, that is the most important thing. I think is time, spending it with who you love and cherish, and just remember that. But that's a perfect way to wrap up Cash In, episode 15. Brennan, it was a pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, we're going to do that.
And tune in next time.
Cashed In.